$10,000, 10,900 for a brand new 1983 Firebird. There's a trade-in vehicle here. Trade-in is a 1977 Honda Civic. I installed the transmission cooler in front of the radiator, and I drilled a bunch of holes in the top plate here for weight reduction and cooling and stuff. I think this is one of the neatest it's been. Got the fuse block bolted down, computer bolted down, got the harness tucked back in again. There's only 2 wires going to that alternator plug there, brown and tan. I'm only using the brown one. This one only has 1. So I'm not sure if I'll cut that off or if I'll make a pin to plug into that, or I'll never use the bigger truck alternator because it'll never fit under the hood. But this one works good. It's a squirrel. Okay, I was working on the steam hose and I found this 3-way fitting and found a part number on it. I don't know what it's from, but part number 4266683. Sorry, 4266683. So I don't know what it's from, but it's a 3-way, and this hose here goes to the steam tube. I'm avoiding the throttle body, the steam tube on the throttle body. I don't want hot antifreeze running through the throttle body. That's for frost, like for cold days or whatever. But this is going to be, this vehicle is not going to be run in the winter, so it doesn't need that. Cold air intake is better than hot antifreeze intake. So anyway, this goes straight to the heads, the front 2 on the heads. It's a 2005, so it just has the front 2, the engine. And so I was working on that, and I was trying to get the air out and get it to circulate, and I'd run it for a couple of minutes, and I wasn't sure if the thermostat was opening or not. This is another thing for winter. There's a thermostat here and it stays closed for winter, and your engine heats up faster and your heater in your cabin goes faster. But I don't want it to heat up faster because it's a summer car, and these cars were prone to overheating and stuff. I've got a 25-inch rad, so I want it to circulate like constantly right from the get-go. So I took the thermostat out. So I wasn't sure if the thermostat was stuck or not, or sticking, and I want it to circulate. So I took the thermostat out and I'm just going to get rid of it. There is an O-ring that goes in here, so I might clean up the O-ring, but I'm probably going to put some silicone on it. It had some silicone on it previously already, and I scraped it all off. Scraped it all off with my pocket knife and the scraper thingy. So I'll probably put the O-ring back in there and maybe some silicone just in case. And I'll put it back together just like this. I heard that the old small block Chevy that goes on top, the intake, I heard that they bolt up the same. So if you have one of those swivel ones, you can probably use it. You can see some corrosion in the valley there, and I cleaned it up a little bit with the wire wheel. I might go some more, but this is the O-ring that was in the thermostat. It has a little notch on the top, and it goes into a little notch right there. So if all these surfaces are clean, This is way better than it was. You should have seen how worse it was, corroded really bad, and that's probably why they had silicone on it. So I'll probably clean it up a little bit more. This O-ring was pretty corroded also, but I just cleaned it up with a little bit of gasoline on a rag. Permatex Ultra Copper Advanced Temperature, Maximum Temperature Gasket Maker. Oh my goodness. Maximum temperature. Okay. Yeah. That's kind of a messy bead, but the friggin' mosquitoes and black flies are chewing me up while I'm trying to squirt it on here, so. Anyway, I friggin' painted it. Look how shiny it is. I can see myself in the reflection. Oh my goodness. So, there's that. I guess I better put it on. No thermostat, none whatsoever. Okay, I just tightened it up. Finger tight with the extension and socket there, and just hand tight. And I'm gonna let the peanut butter set up for a minute. You can see some peanut butter squishing out the sides there. So yeah, just finger tight for about 5 or 10 minutes, and then I'll come back and tighten it up a little bit more with a ratchet. So now it should be able to circulate without getting too hot. I'm not sure if a thermostat was stuck or what, but anyway, I'm not taking that chance. I don't need a thermostat. I don't need the engine to heat up. I don't need it to not circulate. What I do need is I need it to circulate so I can bleed all the air out. It's not going to be driven in the winter. Doesn't need to heat up. Doesn't need the steam tube going through the throttle body. Throttle body's aluminum, so aluminum dissipates heat really quickly. So when you're running the steam tube through the aluminum throttle body, it'll probably, your intake charge is going to be hotter. And everybody knows that cold air makes more power. So the steam tube is not going through the throttle body, it's going to the top rad hose. It's avoiding the throttle body. Some things I'm doing differently. No thermostat, that's different. Steam tube is not going through the throttle body, so that's different than factory. The valve covers, they're just open ventilation, so they're not going through the negative vacuum charge to the intake because they suck up oil from the valve covers. Just stuck this on here temporarily because for some reason coolant was coming out of here, but I think the cap is supposed to hold like 15 pounds of pressure, or 16, yeah, 15. So I'm not sure why coolant was coming out of here, because it still had like air in the line. It wasn't pressurized or anything at the time. So anyway, I didn't want coolant coming out because I'm trying to bleed all the air out. So that's another reason why I hooked up this steam tube. So this is just temporary up high to keep the coolant from falling out, basically. I don't know if it's the rad cap or what it is, but if it's just gonna breeze, if this is just gonna breeze, I could put the steam tube on here, but it's not supposed to be like that. So this is only supposed to open up when it gets 15 pounds of pressure. Working Man's Restoration commented on my last video, and he said, when is it going to be ready for a test? And that's a good question. My goal was to have it ready by June 21st. I think the first day of summer here in the northern hemisphere is June 21st. So I was hoping to have it ready for the first day of summer, or just to have it mobile. There's probably a lot of little things that I'll always want to do, but it should be mobile hopefully by then. I told him I still need to do the steam tube, and I still need to check the bolts on the cross member. I had SAE bolts in the cross member, but it turns out they're supposed to be metric, so I changed those today. and I did the steam tube today, so I did both of those things today. I'd like to get the vacuum. This is a 6-liter intakes with a hydro boost, so it doesn't have the vacuum brake deal on the back. So I'd like to get one of those. They just pop in and out, those vacuum pieces on the back. So I'd like to get one of those and hook up the vacuum brakes. But that's just a vacuum line. So the harness is like, yeah, the harness is tucked in between the fuel rail and the coil packs, and it just goes in behind there, but that's kind of neat. And this is all together, the alternator wire, the engine harness. So I could probably put a loom on that someday. Should have done that by now. The ground for the fans is here, and it says ground right there on the bracket, so that's kind of appropriate. Some of the last things I did was the fuel system, fuel filter, transmission cooler. I drilled some speed holes in the top plate. Transmission cooler's in there. Lots of room for the radiator to breathe. Transmission lines there's lots of room for the transmission lines to come through there. This is just tucked in because I'm working on that. But yeah, lots of room there for the transmission lines. They go down under there. The exhaust is still wide open, but yeah, it's obnoxious, but I can deal with that for now. Something needs to be done there eventually. Painting is easy, like that's easy, but all the prep work that goes first, like the cleaning and degreasing and all that stuff, sometimes has to be primed depending on what you're doing. So I don't like spending a lot of time just making something look pretty, because function over form. As long as it works good is usually my motto. I don't care what it looks like as long as it works good. But recently I found myself cleaning and painting stuff. It's a little bit time consuming, but it's slightly rewarding. 14. These are the original Firebird wheels. I really like the BMW wheels, and that's why they're still on the car. But the 18-inch tires are a little more expensive. Oh my goodness. Seats are gone, front and rear. The carpet's not too bad, but there's some really weird, funky fading coloring. You can't see it very good, but it's like almost pinkish. Like it's like a weird pink color up in there. You probably can't see it. I can't see it on the camera screen very good. But yeah, the carpet's iffy. You can see like the sun fading pattern there. It's like dark gray, and then it's like faded to almost like a pink. But I think it's supposed to be like a dark gray color. Carpet's pretty much shot. I've seen worse, but it's pretty bad. There's a whole bunch of paperwork here. Like, there's got to be a solid 2 pounds of. These are like receipts from oil changes and tire changes and all the maintenance records and more. There's some weird things in there, like parking passes for some government buildings, and there's a Canadian Tire flyer in there. Back when tires were only $37. 13-inch, okay, 15-inch, $53. 47. Yeah, the good old days. And the best part about all these maintenance records and stuff, I don't know why this was in here, but these are trivia cards. I found under the passenger rear seat, found the original build sheet. That's the original build sheet there. Tells you the color 1, color 2, all of the options for this car. 308 axles, power brakes. Yeah, 66 amp alternator, automatic transmission. These are all the RPO codes, like Z49, Canadian equipment. Oh yeah. 2DR standard Firebird 2-door. But these are all RPO codes here. So the G code is always the axle, GU4. That's the 308 gear ratio. Whole bunch of good stuff there. That's the original build sheet. There's a tiny hole in it, right? Actually, it's not a hole, it's a rip. It's not too bad at all. So that's the original build sheet. It was under the passenger seat, which is kind of common, I think. And the original sales receipt from 1983 is in the center console. I showed that in one of my previous videos. So I'm taking out all this spongy underlay stuff that's under the carpet. You can see traces of the spongy stuff here and there and certain sticky spots. You can see traces of it, but it holds moisture, and these seals are old, and I found the trunk was leaking a little bit, so I'm going to get rid of all that spongy stuff that holds the moisture, all the underlay, and I might put a different type of undermat or underlay, like a Dynamat. Center console is still full of paperwork. I can't even hold it all. There's a pearl necklace that keeps falling apart. I don't know if it's real or not, but anyway, I keep finding these little pearls everywhere. But look at all this stuff. Pontiac owner's manual from 1983. That's the dealer, Jack May, Manotick, Pontiac, Buick, GMC. They don't even have Pontiac dealerships anymore. Pontiac is extinct now since 2010, 2009, 2010. The original sales receipt, it was here, it is here somewhere. It's probably in this dealer information. Yeah, there it is there. $10,000, $10,900 for a brand new 1983 Firebird. There's a trade-in vehicle here. Trade-in is a 1977 Honda Civic.